Hey there, this is Natalie, and it's been a wild ride, but it seems like over the course of yesterday, since my last video, the reliable leaks for Attack on Titan chapter 138 started coming, and we're now at a point where there are even some raw images going around that support the latest version. Now, these chapter 138 spoilers could still be wrong, but they're coming from places that have a good track record for being right with previous chapters, so they're about as credible as we're going to get until we see the whole chapter. And, well, actually it turns out that the content of these leaks is nothing like any of the versions of the ending that have been put out and discussed over the past days and weeks. Yes, even the pretty cool sounding ending from the leaks just yesterday, which I covered in my last video, seems to have been all but ruled out by these leaks. So let's first take a look at what they say, and then get into some analysis and what the reception for this chapter is looking like. These leaks have been updated with more and more detail over the past 20 hours or so, and I'm going to try to cover everything we know, but there could be more information by the time I finish making this video, so feel free to update stuff in the comments. And if we get any major new revelations, I will cover them in another video, so please consider subscribing. So here's what the latest version of the leaks say, and the version I'll be using is from readsnk.com. The chapter name is A Long Dream. The rumbling stops, the bones, I guess it implies the big-ass Titan, disappear. Mikasa recalls Eren saying he hates her. Gabby and Falco reunite with their families respectively, and Pieck meets her dad. Annie also goes somewhere to find her dad. After the explosion, chapter 137 ending, Armin and Reiner rise up. Another explosion happens behind them. Colossal Titan Eren appears, and the rumbling Titans continue to move. Now, as a note here, this sounds a bit weird, but there is a supporting image for this, and it's basically a colossal-sized version of the Attack Titan. It's kind of skinny, but it has the pointy ears and hair of Eren's Attack Titan form. I'm not including the images in the video because apparently Kodansha are really going after content creators who are talking about chapter 138 leaks and showing the images rather than just talking about the possibilities of text summaries from public websites being right feels a bit shady from that perspective. Plus, there are at this point only a couple of panels anyway. But this colossal-sized Attack Titan is one of them, and you won't have any trouble finding the images if you want to see them. They're basically all over Twitter. Next, Annie sees her dad, and Reiner looks at a vapor-generating spine, and it says not sure which. The battle is not over yet. Levi asks Mikasa and Pieck to get on Falco and fight. People are titanized by the vapor, and together with the spine, they attack Reiner. Reiner looks at Gabby, Jean, Connie, and even Karina, who are all titanized. Pieck and Annie help Reiner. Armin says something to Eren, but then fights. Mikasa is riding Falco in the sky, and she experiences a severe headache. She opens her eyes and sees Eren waking her up. And the translator says, I suppose this part is not the reality. A short-haired adult Eren lives with her in a random mountain hut, and Eren is chopping some wood. But Mikasa is tearing up, so she talks to the short-haired adult Eren. Then Mikasa makes a decision, and it switches to reality. Armin is blown TF out, and Reiner, Pieck and Annie are messed up by the random Titans. As another note, it's not clear who dies here. Clearly they all get beaten down, but whether any of them survive isn't stated in this version. I've seen a lot of speculation, but nothing especially credible looking about this. But it seems like if any of it's right, then Annie and Armin will survive, and Pieck and Reiner will die. I'll make an update if we get any good information on this, but it's also possible it may not even be revealed until chapter 139. Next, Mikasa wraps the scarf around her and asks Levi to help her enter Eren's mouth. Levi uses a thunder spear to break the colossal Titan Eren's teeth, enters Mikasa. I'm sure that means Mikasa enters, not that Levi enters Mikasa. Next, Mikasa finds Eren, and Eren looks at her. In Mikasa's mind, it's an Eren falling asleep next to the aforementioned mountain hut. Mikasa holds Eren's head, and it switches to reality again, with Mikasa kissing Eren's head. The founder, Ymir, is smiling and watching beside them. And now it explains the parallel future Eren sent to Mikasa's mind. Eren says, Mikasa, get up, you'll catch a cold, And Mikasa says, Eren, when did I fall asleep? He says, you're too tired. It's like I had the longest dream. Eren says, don't do anything else today, have a good rest. I caught a big fish in the river. Mikasa, why are you crying? She says, what happened to me? I'm thinking, can I really stay here? Eren says, we can't do anything anyway. Mikasa asks what he means by that, and he says, ever since that day, we left everything behind and fled here. We could never. 2 months ago, Marley finished the war. The invasion of Paradis will begin soon. If everyone on the island doesn't run away now, they'll all be killed. Armin, he must be doing everything he can to find us. I don't want to push Historia into hell and let the tragedy of killing each other continue forever, but I also didn't gain the determination to massacre people outside the island. If so, then I'd rather spend the remaining 4 years of my life quietly, here in this sequestered place, with only the two of us. Mikasa, isn't it you who taught me to do so? And it says the memory resurfaces. Mikasa says, I'm sorry, we agreed never to bring that up again. Eren says, can you promise me one more thing? After I die, throw this scarf away. After that, you'll live many, many years. Forget me and find freedom. Please, Mikasa, forget me. And then in reality, Mikasa takes out the scarf and wears it and says, sorry, I can't do this. Mikasa enters Eren's titan mouth and says, go in peace, Eren, or go without any concern or worry. I'm not sure how best to translate this. The translator left a note there. And again, it says the founder Ymir looks on smiling. And the splash text says, farewell, the young man who seeks freedom. So that seems to be the chapter. Eren is killed by Mikasa, who he gives a vision to of a future that never was, where they both kind of noped out of doing anything. The Alliance, other than Levi and Falco, seem to all either get turned into pure titans or beaten down, and the rumbling restarts, though whether it will stop now Eren is dead, or what Ymir is going to do next in general, is all unclear. It does leave us a lot to speculate about for chapter 139. Now, these events, assuming the leaks are the genuine ones, are proving popular with the Eremika fanbase, but they're not so popular with Armin fans, who feel like this alternate future vision Eren showed to Mikasa, meaning they would have left Armin behind, kind of stomps on the concept of the trio being what's important. I think it kind of makes sense in the concept of Armin's character though. I don't think if this future had played out that Armin would have gone along with it, and he probably would have been trying to find them. It seems to me more like Eren is showing Mikasa that if they'd done what she'd wanted, it wouldn't ultimately have been a future she could accept. Basically, it had to be like this. Naturally, the Jaegerist fanbase are also not getting the ending they wanted here, so there is some rejection of these leaks from various parts of the community. Personally, I'm not really in any faction when it comes to what I was hoping would happen. All I've been hoping for was an ending that was interesting and which made sense and felt like it fit the story, and one that felt like it was what Isayama actually wanted to do, and so didn't feel like a cop-out. That did really result in me tending to favour Jaegerist endings out of all of the various Chapter 138 theories, just because they did tend to be the most interesting and surprising, and what I really like is seeing writers do something that takes balls. But I can be happy with an ending where Eren dies, as long as it doesn't feel like a big shonen arsepool, and I'd say this doesn't really. This version of Chapter 138, I'd say it's pretty good. There were other versions and theories I preferred, but that's probably more on the basis of being less personally invested in the story between Mikasa and Eren than in the resolution of some of the other stuff. It does fit with the story for things to go this way, and does mean that, unlike in a lot of other ending theories, Mikasa doesn't feel really underused. There are also some other interesting developments action-wise, though this last-minute situation with the spine putting out the titanizing gas, while it's exciting, does feel like a weird thing to happen so close to the end. I guess we'll have to wait and see whether the intention of that was to give the other characters something to deal with in this chapter, in the context of Mikasa putting an end to Eren, or if it's going to have any lasting consequences that are going to feed into the final chapter. And that's really the other thing about this chapter. It does leave us with a lot of questions for chapter 139. That's a good thing in my opinion. It's much better to be going into the final chapter expecting more than just an epilogue, but it means we still don't know anything at all about Historia and her baby, which perhaps does leave it looking like maybe an Ymir reborn type of thing may happen. Plus, we don't know who the man in the final panel is, given it's probably not going to be Eren now. I did see one of you guys say in a comment that it's Jean, and he's going to have a baby with Mikasa that they'll name Eren, and well, I guess stranger things could happen. But what do you guys think? Do you think finally this chapter 138 leak is the real one? How do you think it stacks up? Let me know in the comments, and please consider subscribing because I will be continuing to cover the Attack on Titan manga, plus I also cover analysis and theories for other anime, manga and light novels, including a lot of content about Re:Zero. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you again very soon.